But yeah, that's your roaster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Bad boy and we make things happen.
I love it. Um, so this is Town Visit Tuesdays with LoraleeLiving, and my special guest today is Karen. She is the owner of Rosso Specialty Coffee, Karen Blankenzee. And I'm so
I
appreciative of your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. So we were just talking about your bad boy behind you and how you make
Mm-hmm.
things happen. So you do all your own roasting, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
how did
I
you, can you, would you mind sharing a little bit about that?
um I I purchased green beans,
Okay.
and a lot of people ask me if I go out to all over the world and buy beans. No, I don't, because that takes a lot of time, and you really, it's, I think you have to have a call for that. Um, for me, I just deal with importers and distributors. They are the ones, the companies all over the states. There are many companies who which go out to the farming areas, and they are the ones who buy coffee beans and bring it to the states, and they sell it to people like myself. So I only deal with those suppliers, and I only buy specialty grade coffees. There are, just like any other agriculture products, coffee has a great level of great. Higher number goes, it's actually better quality and more money that I have to pay. Specialty grade coffee is actually, you can the word just speaks itself, right? Specialty grade.
Right.
So meaning that I pay more for my green beans. And once it's delivered to my warehouse here, this is my warehouse where I work. Those are coffee beans.
Oh, wow.
Um, and I cook them. I run that roaster. Not so big, but it's pretty heavy.
It looks pretty big.
It is. It is actually a little taller with that hopper on the top. It's taller than me, and I'm about 5'6".
Okay.
And yeah, and then I have two different kind of blends. One is house blend, and the other one is breakfast blend.
Okay.
And the rest, I try to sell single origin coffee bean bags, because for me, I'm also coffee taster too, and I wanted to. One of the reasons why I started it is because I wanted to bring the coffee, different kind of coffees from different part of the world to my customers, so they can actually start to notice the difference in coffee flavors. When I say flavors, it's flavors from coffee beans itself, and not from added flavors or additives.
The added
So
the syrups and
yeah.
things like that.
And there are a lot of coffees, for example, like a hazelnut,
Hmm.
which a lot of people like. Those are infused, the flavor infused coffees. Um, let's not go too much detail on it, because I might get myself in trouble. But it's
Okay.
if you taste the hazelnut, it's not as sweet as what you smell in coffee. So when they say natural flavors, I mean, the packages nowadays, they are so smart and they can, you really cannot trust the words by words.
That's true on any
And
food.
yeah, you really have to do your own studies and do your own due diligence because to really know what we are actually consuming and putting into our body.
So true.
Um, So a lot of people become more aware of organic stuff, and um,
Is your coffee organic?
that's where I wanted to go talk about because
Nice.
those coffee farms where they're located, they
Hmm.
are pretty high up in the more higher altitude they go up, the coffee cherries will produce more complexities in the seeds
Okay.
than when we say coffee, we only are using the seed part of coffee cherry, the fruit. Um, with that being said, a lot of farms are located in a very high mountainous area, which is a very difficult, even I was told, to walk. Um, Not alone. That's one, and second, those are farmers. Not all the farmers are um, well off enough to afford those machines and chemicals. So a lot of farmers actually they when they pick cherries, coffee cherries, they get rid of fruit parts and they ferment those fruit parts and give it back to the trees.
Oh,
As far as I know, that's the most common practice been doing so far. And I'm not saying no one uses pesticides and all those chemicals, but not guaranteed. Not everybody's available. I mean, they can afford all those. So that's the reason why coffee is a labor intense industry. Growing coffee, I'm talking about,
right.
because not only because of the harsh conditions, but also coffee cherries, when it's season, they actually bloom. And even though it looks like they bloom at the same time, they ripe differently. Oops,
Whoop.
what did I do?
There we go.
Sorry.
That's okay.
They ripe differently, different time. So
Okay.
that's the reason why they have workers, and those workers go around and rummaging through branches and pick ripened ones.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's all manually. Most of them are manually done.
So
And
are you saying the blossom or the ready seed could ripen at a different time on the same tree?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
same branch.
Same branch.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're not even talking about same tree, but same branch.
Same branch.
Yeah. Most of on the same branch, they actually ripe pretty much at the same time, but there are some green ones, latecomers,
Okay.
and also there are early comers. So for them, it's very important. That's they're right there is a quality. They when they handpick, they try to pick the ripened ones, and they process it, and that's how the coffee producers actually started to be aware of specialty grade coffee beans, and then they know that they can charge more, they will earn more
Okay.
for the same products that they have been doing for so long. And however, they're not that well off yet, and a lot of time those certificates are little. too expensive for them, and it become like a decision, executive decisions that farmers have to make. Are they willing to pay the fee to get that and target it, certain people,
Mhm.
or are they willing? I mean, do they want to just reuse it to develop their more business, like, invest into their business, and do they want to feed their family, sort of those kind of things that they have to consider. And also, unfortunately, some part of the world, there are politically unstable. And one farmer, I was told, he used to have the certificate, but he couldn't renew because of the political situation in his family. I mean, his country.
Wow.
So he could not renew. And it's the same coffee. It's the same type of coffee that he has been producing and selling for organic coffee. And now his coffee become non-organic because he couldn't renew timely their certificate, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does. That's too
And
bad.
and it's too much money for, maybe it can go run from just a couple of $100 up to $1,000, and for them, $1,000 is a big deal.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And I um I've I've been told by many people that, if you really go, probably you wouldn't really have to worry too much. Because they don't even have, what we have, infrastructures. It's not
Mhm.
there. And I mean, all I'm saying is it's a life for them. It's when they have a family, they have to be able to, you know, feed the family
Absolutely.
rather than for the piece of paper, I
It's
want to
the
say.
it's their livelihood.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so I don't particularly myself, I believe, that's the reason why I pick and choose my bean suppliers, because if they don't have that kind of mindset, and and they have the philosophies in their business,
Hmm.
then they can go around and buy whatever they can get their hands on and sell. Then I I mean, I decided to go with a few suppliers that I trust. They do a good job, and that whatever they bring to the table, I know they pay fair price, and they even have internal their own system, so they monitor themselves too. Are we paying fair price, and is this fair for both parties? I mean, each parties. I'm the third party here. Each parties, producers and bean buyers, they both have to make money, but they try to be fair to each other.
Right. That's good.
And yeah, they build their relationship, and that lasts decades, and that tells you something. And yeah, that's so I trust them. And
That's
when they
awesome.
say it's a good grade coffee, and I mean, there are a lot of things that we actually encounter, but unless we have that bottom line, underlying trust, you really cannot do business. And I trust them.
Nice.
And I
That
don't
says a
have
lot.
a organic certificate as well.
You
So
do.
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Yeah, I could, but and then as I said, that only narrow this very narrow window for me. Organic doesn't mean it's tastier. I mean, you know that if you go to, used to be when you go to a Whole Foods. I mean, we're talking about different products,
Right.
but I mean, basically agriculture products. Organically grown ones are not necessarily better. I'm not saying my farmers who use chemicals.
Right.
They go around on the plane and spray the whole area. No, they cannot do that.
But they've had, like the one in particular has had to just change the way he does business because he wasn't able to get the product out under the organic.
No, he still sell.
He still sells, but he couldn't do it under the organic label, but he still
Right.
produces it the same way as he did as organic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I understand that.
It's kind of uh what I want to say. It's kind of sad
It is.
when you think about it.
It really is.
Yeah.
And he has, it's his livelihood. So
Right, right.
as long as he's producing it the same way, you are getting the same product.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good.
And as I said, a lot of farmers cannot afford those chemicals anyhow.
Right. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you said that your beans are green?
Oh, the beans, the seeds that I buy, those are what we call green beans, the
What is
coffee
the
beans.
difference? What is the difference between a green bean and another color of bean?
Oh, green beans are before cooked
Okay.
in my roaster, and the kind of brownish looking. I mean, green beans are heavier because it has not been in that roaster
Okay.
and it has not been cooked. And once I run the beans inside of the roaster and take it out, then its color has been changed because it's been cooked.
Okay.
So it's like oven, when we put some vegetables, we put it into the oven. When you take it out, you just color changes, right?
Hmm.
Same thing. I mean, that roaster is actually the same kind of mechanical method in there. I have to preheat that, and once I feel like it has been preheated enough, preheating is very important because the it's the temperature inside of that roaster is one of the main factors when I work. And only difference in between my roaster and the regular oven is oven doesn't rotate, but my roaster, when I run it, it's constantly rotating to make sure that the air inside, atmosphere inside is approximately the same.
Nice.
Yeah, as what thermo, says. Always, if it just stays still, higher air is hotter, always hotter than lower, positioned air. So it's to prevent it, and they always run. It's quite noisy too.
Is it? So what is the temperature? Is there like a perfect temperature to make the perfect bean roasted?
There's no such a thing, It's perfect. It's because it's all again agricultural products that we're dealing with, which could have different level of moist. Although it's been dried, it still has about 10 to 12% of moisture level in the seeds.
Okay.
And also, I am, although I preheated, try to create the same condition for the beans to get in, it's always slightly different. So that's so there's always a margin. I have to be honest. It's not, even if you run it with a machine, I mean computer, there will be a margin of errors. So I would say when I run it, when I dump coffee beans, it's way over 400 Fahrenheit.
Okay.
And I have a control in my hands on three things. The first, as I said, the temperature. That means I have to have a control on gas supply, which I do have, and also how fast I can, the the drum. That's what we call it. Drum drum speed. I can actually have control over, and
Okay.
the air. Also, I can, as I could start to cook and the coffee beans are cooked inside, it will start to, a lot of smokes come out, and I can actually control how much air I want to suck out of my roaster. And as you see, that silver kind of pipe,
Yes.
that's a ventilation pipe. So it depends on how much air suction that I actually apply. It it will pull whatever given conditions. It will pull out the air from the roaster, and also the time. And my roasting recipes normally don't does its recipes don't last more than 11 minutes,
Okay.
around 11 and a half.
It's a short
I
process.
Yeah.
And is that how much you allow it to, I guess, to smoke or to the air to come in? Does that determine the flavor of the bean? Does it?
I believe so,
Okay.
because if you don't control the airflow inside, then when there's beans, tiny little coffee beans are getting into that hot, very hot atmosphere. I mean, environment, I should call it. Then it will instantaneously start to cook because it's 90%, about 90% dried. And when they are cooking, the outside, it has chaffs, what we call silver skin. Those are very thin layer of inner skin. And then when it meets the hot temperature, I mean air, then it will start to cook quicker, and it will start to burn, and it will create a smoke inside. So if you don't pull those airflow, if you don't just pull those smoked airs, it will eventually penetrate into coffee, and I believe it will affect on the flavors, coffee taste in your cup.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
like, if you get a coffee, so I guess I'm curious too, like, when you're roasting it, you're roasting it to, I don't know if it's to a flavor, like you have the morning breakfast and the other flavor that you offer, but when it actually goes to the what I want to say, to the coffee shop that you're selling the bean to, okay, and they put it in their espresso maker, they put it in their coffee maker. At which point can that bean become bitter? Is it at your end or is it at the coffee maker's end? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I see what you're trying to ask. Um, okay. let's go back to farm. The farmers, I believe there are three major chains in coffee industry. The farmers are the first ones, and I am the second one in the middle, roasters. And the third one is the baristas.
Okay.
And hopefully, farmers will produce better coffee, better grade coffee beans. So, I mean, meaning hopefully their crops have lesser defects. Those are defects in green coffees. You know, no matter what I do, it is going to actually affect on coffee flavors. For example, like immature beans. Immature beans are like you know, I told you that they try to handpick ripe cherries,
Hmm.
but inevitably, you know, some unripe ones will fall down, and somehow it got all the way to went through a whole day process. Then it come to my hand, and those immature beans actually, it will give you kind of unpleasant bitterness.
Oh,
And then there are coffee, especially the coffee that I am dealing with. Those Arabica coffees are very they are not sustainable. Their sustainability to the disease and to insects are very low compared to another species called Robusta.
okay.
Robusta has more bitterness, but it's easier to grow because they are much hardier than Arabica coffee trees.
Okay.
Um, so it's those are defects. There's a insect attacked beans. Insects will, you know, drill somehow tiny little holes, and they do whatever, you know. Some lay their eggs and hatch it and leave this black mark. Very small mark is almost, you know, with you really have to look for it.
Oh,
And however, those ones actually leave very hard bitterness, like a medicinal, almost
oh,
like, and very unpleasant. And yeah, those are defects. Hopefully, are lesser. Then somehow, if there are more defects, then they will have to adjust the price. So that's the reason why I only buy specialty grade beans. That doesn't mean my coffee beans don't have defects, but it has a lesser defect, and I don't have to deal with those, you know, too much. And the number of defects actually determine the taste in your coffee cup. Yes, for sure. And because I buy better coffee beans, I can do up to medium level of roast. I don't have to go dark roast. And I don't care what people say. Dark roast, you are much better off to stay away from it. And some business people, they should know better. However, they say, "Oh, well, but our customers love our dark roast," and I'm like, "No, your customers, because they don't know any better,
mm,
and you should know, and you should not offer those to your customers." And there's only one reason why they're doing it, and I'm not going to tell because it's so obvious. I already told you all along the reason why it's when they have more. When you roast coffee flavors are very subtle.
hmm.
So they are very sensitive to a heat, very high heat. And if you roast it longer,
Right.
then it will just burn off. It will just disappear from the coffee beans.
That makes
And
sense.
however, those defects have those impurities, impure flavors, meaning, undesirable flavors. Those last much longer than coffee's good flavors. So go figure. For
Okay.
them to get rid of that impurity, they have to go darker. And we all know something burnt, you shouldn't actually consume.
Right.
You're not going to see the difference today or tomorrow
You
or
actually, it's
next
like
year.
carcinogens,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Mm.
So if you don't eat anything burnt out of grill or, baked goods or any food, we discard them. If you are concerning about, that burnt part and you don't consume, then what makes you think it's any different for coffee? If you burn it in that roaster and come out shiny, oily, the oil is actually last reserved for coffee beans. If they coffee just absorb all the heat energies inside while it's cooking, and when it cannot take, it has to give out, then it will start to pop like a popcorn. That's what
Oh,
we call first crack. And then if you just keep on cooking, it will start to, because it just let out the energy that has been absorbed, it will start to absorb more. Then it will be quicker than the first crack, but it will not as audible, as noticeable as the first crack, but it will crack again. In other words, it will pop again, and then you just keep on carry on. Then it will, after this, every pop, it usually we have a second pop, second crack, and that's the end of it. I mean, it cannot do anything more. And normally coffee beans, by then, it just, okay, I'm done. I cannot take it anymore. I give up. Then
so
it will let out the oil from
so is that the
inside.
point where that's considered dark roasted?
Well, I mean, if you want to go to a supermarket and buy a couple of bags when they say dark roast. No, I'm not talking about ground coffee beans, but if it's
The
a whole
beans?
beans, and when they say dark roast, and buy a bag and open it up, and what do you see? Will be, that's what it is. It's a very oily and very shiny. Color is almost like a black.
Right.
Um, by then, it's a very fragile, because the structure is almost, burnt.
So the integrity of the whole bean is gone.
It's all gone.
Wow.
And it's not okay to make a drink with those burnt beans and consume it. No. Along the
Interesting.
way, we're not going to see the difference today and tomorrow. As I said, maybe next year we won't see. But if you consume, how many cups? They were talking about, 4 or 5 cups. The amount we're talking about is different. When those, I believe those on studies, when they say 15 cups, those are European sized cups, not American sized cups. However, let's say we consume 12 ounces twice or 3 times a day, and we live 60 years, and you start to drink coffee at 15 years, then 45 years you drink, and it will go around in your, because it's a very fine, and it will move around in your body, and somewhere when it find the weak part, then it will deposit there and start to create bad cells, and that's what all to what we call cancer is.
Right. Interesting.
Mm.
Does that
It's
have
all,
anything to do with espresso, or is that completely a different animal?
well, I mean, I only believe in medium roast.
Okay.
We don't, it's just, and under roast is as bad as over roast,
Oh,
because you won't get enough flavors out of your coffee. And if it's a medium roasted coffee beans, and if it's a proper espresso machine, like a commercial grade, they use 9 bars or 10 bars of pressure per shot, which takes about 25 seconds up to 30 some, whatever they set it for. They use so much pressure, so it really doesn't matter. It's actually, for the machine, it's better to use a medium roast coffee than that dark roast. And the reason why is because it's all oily beans, and oil is already came out, and it will start to mess up your machine.
okay.
So yeah, it's better. It's medium roast is better if you want to consume coffee. Please do medium roast. You don't have to buy coffee from me, but go to wherever and buy medium roast coffee, and you're doing whole a lot kind acts to your own body.
Well, that's very interesting, very informative.
And some people actually, oh, what's the time? I need to
We're getting
what's the
close. We are there.
Okay.
And I still had a couple more questions.
All right. People worry about caffeine, right? I do not believe decaf is beneficial. Not beneficial is debatable. I don't do decaf because for those companies, to produce decaf beans, they have to add one more process
Okay.
stage. And if you buy more lesser harmful, I mean, water processed decaf is the best, Swiss water processed, and probably you have to pay a whole lot more for regular coffee beans. But I always say, if you are sensitive to caffeine, then make it the ratio in between coffee. This is the thing. Coffee taste, if you want strong coffee, then you should work on your different ratio. Like, let's say coffee to water, 1 to 10. That's very strong coffee. Or if you cannot take too strong, then do 1 to 16, 1 to 17. And if you take it black, that's good. But don't confused by the sensation in your mouth or to your palate. When you take coffee made with dark roast, it's a very harsh, and you can tell, oh, it's a very smoky, and it's just so pungent. I have to have something to mask this flavor. Then again, you're much better off not to drink those. However, that's not strong. Your brain is just giving you a signal, oh, something not good is coming in, so don't drink it. But we're so used to ignore those.
Right.
If you want to have a strong coffee, then use a little more coffee or a little less water when you brew coffee. That's how you're supposed to control your boldness in your cup, not because one is much bitter and smokier doesn't mean it's strong coffee. That means you shouldn't drink that coffee actually. And caffeine it's acid, and it's actually a chemical, very little in coffee. However, it hits our neural system quickly. So when we consume coffee, it actually hits our nerve system quickly, and that's why we have that waking up sensation, right?
Okay.
You feel like, oh my God. And then once it's done into our body, inside our body quickly, it actually wants to get out of our body quickly. Again, second side effect of coffee is, soon after you want to go to the bathroom and you want to pee because caffeine wants to get out of our body. So my suggestion to my customers, if you have a sensitivity to any kind of sensitivities to caffeine, then brew it weaker and drink it while you consume coffee. Drink it with water, or right after you finish your coffee, drink some water. Then you will actually have to go to the bathroom quicker, and you will get rid of caffeine quicker out of your system. But then it's all up there.
True.
A lot of time.
Right.
They just think, oh my God, I drank coffee, I have to go to the bathroom. And I cannot sleep. It won't last hours and hours inside our body. No, it won't stay that long.
No.
So let's say it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you have a cup. By the time you go to bed, 9:30, 10 o'clock, how many hours? You go to the bathroom so many times within that time. So your caffeine is already gone. But if you have cardiological, is that the right word to use? Your heart condition.
Okay.
Is very sensitive to caffeine or whatever coffee has, then you need to talk to your physician about that. Then they usually say, hey, cut it down or stop drinking it. Then you better listen to your doctor.
Interesting.
Does it make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. So your clients, I know when you and I met, I think it's been a couple years now, where we met at Sal Insurance.
I believe next month it will be 2 years term anniversary for me. So it's almost, less than 2 years.
You had just started. You had a couple clients, and I've been following you on Instagram, and I see you've got many clients now.
I have few, yes.
Yeah. So your clients are local coffee shops, essentially, yes?
No, actually, I don't have a local coffee shop client.
Oh, no?
Some other eateries, yes, I do.
Eateries, okay.
Yeah, okay. Like restaurants and cafes and even bakery, donut shop, whatever.
Okay.
Whomever serves coffee, they can be my customers. And also because I've been preaching to my customers, they individual customers, I have gained a lot more individual customers. And
so somebody can come by, I can come buy a bag of roasted coffee from you. So individuals can buy from you as well as go find it in a specialty cafe.
Right.
Okay.
Whomever using my coffee, you can go there and or you can actually, I have a website and online sale is available. You can either buy there or if you want to hear, because I know a little bit more about coffee. If you want to hear more about what I have to say, then you're more than welcome to just contact me. Come by my warehouse. This is a warehouse space, actually,
Okay.
as you see.
Yeah.
This is not retail. This is where I manufacture where I cook my beans, and then I will have privilege to talk to you about coffee, and you will get free complimentary specialty coffee from me.
Nice.
And yeah, so my packs are all 12 ounces. And again, I don't do dark roast. I only do medium roast. And I, as I said, I'm a coffee taster. I have a piece of paper actually said that I am a coffee taster. And because I cook my own beans, I wear another hat. I'm a coffee roaster too, and coffee seller. So I wear a lot of hats.
Yes, you do. So I've got a couple more questions real quick. So you
Okay.
at the beginning you said that your main focus was to get out and educate people about the coffee and the taste. And are you finding that your clients, especially in the cafe arena, are seeing the difference in taste? Are you getting what kind of feedback are you getting?
Oh, okay. One customer's coffee sales, he started to serve my coffee since last November. I can't remember, maybe mid-November, early
Okay.
November. By end of the year, he told me his coffee sales had gone up 15%
Wow.
in 2 months' time, less than 2 months.
Month
And
and a half.
yeah, and then, you know, about end of January, it actually went up to over 20%.
Wow.
And then it's carried. Um, when COVID-19 happened, he was very nervous because I mean, we all were, and then he said, well, it was steady, which was remarkable at that point. But he said, yeah, it's increasing. So that's if that makes gives you enough answers. And
Yes.
another customers, they used to buy like a 5 pounds a week, and now they are buying 25 pounds a week.
Wow. That's incredible.
I know, it's a 5 times more, right?
That's awesome.
And again, my customers, these are customers, they use commercial grade coffee espresso machine. And people have this misinformed for many, 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 maybe over 100 years from Italy. Espresso has to be very dark. No, doesn't have to be. And I sell same kind of beans, the same blends to my customers, and as all my individual packs. So it's all the same coffee. If you go to my customer's business and you buy coffee from there, that will be the same coffee that you buy from me, from my roastery, and brew it at home is the same. But only things will make a difference is how you make it.
Okay. Well, I know we've gone over time and I have more questions, so I'm hoping I would like to have a part two
Mm-hmm.
if we could, and maybe I could come to your warehouse and you could demonstrate on your machine
You're
and
more
we could
than
talk a little
welcome.
bit more.
Yeah, sure. But if I cannot really demonstrate this bad boy is because when it's running, it's pretty
It's
noisy.
too loud.
It's pretty noisy and it
Okay.
become pretty hot. But you're more than welcome to come by. Oh, sorry, I
Whoops,
just got
that's
a
okay.
phone call.
That's okay.
Um, just give me a call, and you're always welcome.
Okay.
Text
All
me,
right.
email me. You have
Thank
my
you.
phone number.
I
All
do.
right.
I do.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so much
much.
for your time. Have an awesome day.
All
And
right.
we'll see you
Thank you.
soon. All right, Karen.
All right. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So I just finished a great interview with Karen Blankenzee. She's the owner and founder of Rosso Specialty Coffee. Rosso is Italian for red, and I'm hoping to go back out. Actually, not go back out, but go out next time to her warehouse and be able to ask a few more questions. We had to cut short today because she actually had a delivery to one of her local cafes. So thank you for joining us, and have a blessed week. And we'll see you next time on Laura Lee Town Visit Tuesdays. Thank you so much.